All right. Leland, you ready to go?
Ready. Jen, ready?
Yes, I've started recording.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Honolulu Ethics Commission meeting today. I just wanted to add some notes that for all commissioners who are attending remotely, please remain visible on the screen. And if a visual connection is lost, we'll try to get you on board if there's a quorum issue. Also, when commissioners speak, I'm going to remind commissioners to please not speak over one another, because the record keeper is going to have a hard time discerning the voices. Speak loudly, and your patience is appreciated. So, first of all, before we get started, I want to establish that we do have quorum. We have 4 commissioners: Cynthia, Commissioner Lynch, myself as chair, Commissioner Rice, and the new commissioner, Commissioner White. I believe the other 2 commissioners are on their way, and the other commissioner, Commissioner Fukunaga, is attending online, although I don't see him. Oh, here we go.
Sorry, the parking is fine.
Let's start. And the record will reflect the presence of Commissioner Bartel. Before we get started, are there any members of the public present who want to identify themselves and address any agenda item now? Okay, there's no one identified. Now let's move on to agenda item 2, the new business. With respect to the chair's report, I have no announcements and correspondence or additional distribution, but I would like to take the time to welcome new Commissioner Perry White, and I'd like to indicate I reviewed his application and his resume, and extremely lengthy resume. He graduated high school in Pinnacle and was teaching, got a teaching certificate at Stanford.
Actually, teaching from UH.
Oh, teaching from UH. Oh, that's right. A Bachelor of Arts from Stanford and a teaching certificate from UH. And he also have a master's in planning from Pennsylvania, University of Pennsylvania. Sorry. No problem. Let the record indicate the presence of Vice Chair David Monk. I'd like to note that Commissioner White is retired. That's fabulous. Join the other retired group. He's the founder, president of Planning Solutions. He has a very deep background in planning. And I think he's indicated he's worked with 150 studies and reports as a principal planner of Planning Solutions. So, without further delay, Commissioner White would like to say a few words.
I cut it down to a very few words, okay? So, and I just want to say my experience growing up, being educated and working has taught me that trust is probably at the heart of almost everything. And I think that ethical behavior is at the heart of trust. So being able to serve on this commission is a milestone in my life, and I treat the responsibility very heavily. And I hope that I can contribute to this group's work. And I'm not going to say more.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wright. Thank you, and we look forward to your participation, and we know that you will really contribute to the Ethics Commission, whatever projects that we are involved in. And we appreciate your willingness to volunteer for this commission. Next,
We do have Commissioner Fukunaga online.
you do have Commissioner Fukunaga.
President.
Let the record indicate that Commissioner Fukunaga is present. So we have all 7 commissioners present. And Commissioner Fukunaga, we just got through describing the new commissioner, Commissioner White, and also he gave a short message, short speech. So we're gonna move on to other things. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you fine. Hi.
Good. Okay, now for the next, for action, I'd like to ask for the approval of open session minutes of January 21, 2026. Have any? Yes, so moved.
Second,
Seconded. Are there, is there any discussion? No? Does anyone oppose the adoption of the minutes of January 21st, 2026? Having no opposition, it is approved. Next, I'd like to ask for the approval of open session minutes of February 18th, 2026. All of you had a chance to review that? And do I have a motion to
I move.
Commissioner Rice moves, and any second?
Second.
Second. From Commissioner Martell, okay. Is there any discussion? If there's no discussion, then I would ask, is there anyone opposed to the adoption of the open session minutes of February 18, 2026? There being no opposition, the February 2026 open session minutes are hereby approved. Next on the agenda for discussion and action is the formation of a permitted interaction group to review the Ethics Commission's strategic plan. And by way of some background, there has been a permitted interaction group started in 2025 with myself and Cynthia Lynch and Peter Adler. Unfortunately, we could not get the job done for a variety of reasons that encumbered our schedule. And at the end of this year, of course, Peter Adler had left the commission. He had turned out. So I wanted to explore the recreation of the formation of the permitted interaction group to review the Ethics Commission's strategic plan. Now, there was a strategic plan made in 2020. And under the strategic plan, it sets forth that that it would be reviewed in 2022 and 2024. Was reviewed, but we couldn't come up with that. We couldn't continue on with the PIG because of the lack of the members. So it's basically, I'm not sure if you had a chance to read the strategic plan that was made or applicable back in 2020, but it's the purpose of the creating the forming forming a new PIG is to update those plans by way of background. So with that, I've asked Cynthia if she's still going to be on the permitted interaction group for this strategic planning. And does anybody else?
We need a motion first to establish?
Yes, I think we need a motion.
So I so move.
Second.
There is a motion to establish the permitted interaction group to review the Ethics Commission's strategic plan and define the scope of investigation and authority. I'm not sure what that is about.
Standard pig line.
Yeah, that's to basically.
So with that, there is motion for the formation of this PIG, of this particular PIG. Is there a second?
I seconded.
Tell, can I have a vote to open it? Can I call a roll call?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Martell?
Aye.
Commissioner
Aye.
Lynch? Commissioner Monk?
Aye.
Myself, yes.
Aye.
Commissioner Rice?
Aye.
And Commissioner White and Commissioner Fukunaga.
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. Now, with respect to installing the members of the PIG, it was myself and Commissioner Lynch, and I wanted to find out, do we have volunteers? Commissioner Rice has volunteered. Do we have any other volunteers?
Just for background, I will, but I'm also the newbie, so I,
Okay, got skills.
we have a limit on the number.
Yeah.
Yes, we
You
have to
can't have a quorum, pick. You can't have, I don't think you can have commission quorum, you can't have 4 members.
Right,
We can limit it to 3.
yeah.
He's just volunteering to be one of the 3, I guess.
Good to have a planner.
Yeah,
You, Chair, if I may?
Yes.
You and I talked informally offline about possibly my joining this group because I've been around the longest at this point. And I said that I was willing to do that. I will point out, however, that I also term out at the end of this calendar year. So that would put a hard deadline on this pitch one, if we're gonna put me on the pay. So I'm easy either way, and I'd be happy to be sort of an informal, offer my informal input. I don't know how much that's allowed outside of the pig that's established. But if I'm not a member, and you want to consult me offline, just one-on-one, I think that might be allowable.
yes, it is. One-on-one. Are there any other volunteers? Because, there's no indication that myself or Cynthia Lynch are necessarily members, because it is the formation of a whole new pig. Not necessarily.
May I also make one more point?
Sure.
Which is that, because this is a forward-looking document, it's a strategy for the next however many years. It's probably in the best interest of the commission to have people on this pig who are going to be around for a while to see it executed.
So I'll just say from having worked on the previous one, that we did meet, we did come to some serious conclusions, and then we made the mistake of reporting back to, which dissolved. Okay, so, that said, we've missed 2 revisions, and we're now, reviews, and we're now up to creating, in the timeline, we're now up to creating a new strategic plan. It's not a review. We passed the review date. So, it is going to be very forward looking, and it's going to need, at least, nobody does 10-year strategic plans anymore because nothing is stable that long. But it needs to be at least 5 years.
I'm not certain if it's going to be a revision or whether or not it's going to be a start, because we missed the 2024 deadline, but I think we can take that up with,
As I recall, this plan ends in 2027, so we're almost at the deadline. But
yeah, it ends in 2027, so
Yeah.
we're very close to the deadline for next year's.
Right.
So
Yes, we are.
I think it'd be either probably a revision of what we started, or possibly a start. I'm not certain that would be taken up with the big. So,
Procedurally, does it matter if it's an extension or just a new one?
Well, this is what we're discussing is the scope.
Well, so if it was a new one, it would be an entirely new scope, and if it was a continuation, the scope's already established? Is that?
Well, as I recall, the intent of these reviews every 2 years was to see if we were on target
Right.
for accomplishing what was set out in the previous strategic plan. The reviews didn't happen.
Right.
And so now I guess it's up to us to decide if we build on the previous one. There's no point in reviewing it because
It's
too late.
Yes,
so we can pick it up where it left off and build on it from there, but it's not a review of what we've done anymore.
Okay.
That I can tell.
okay, well, let's discuss the membership, and then we'll go on to the scope. Get that done. For the members, Claudia has volunteered. They volunteered along with Cynthia.
As a strategic planner, I can contribute fully to this and happily.
Barry, do you still want to be in it? I will, although I kind of like the idea of Cynthia continuing with all the background that she has. And I'm not sure I'm not sure what your time limitations are.
Well, I'm one of only 2 people on board that still work. But I do teach strategic planning at the master's level, and I could always make us the client.
Okay, I think
I
that,
mean that jokingly, of course.
then I think you're a great choice.
So yes,
Take my name off.
I'm happy to stay on it.
So I think the 3 remaining names are Commissioner Rice, Commissioner Lynch, and myself on this particular thing.
Not
So do I have a motion to approve the membership of the PIG for strategic planning?
So move.
Second,
Seconded, moved by Vice Chair Monk and seconded by Commissioner White. Could I have a vote on that, right? First of all, Commissioner Martell,
Aye.
Commissioner Lynch,
Aye.
Commissioner
On
Monk,
one side,
myself, yes. Commissioner Rice,
Aye.
Commissioner White,
I,
Commissioner Fukunaga,
Yes.
unanimous. Now, to discuss the scope of the PIG, I'd like to open this up for discussions with the various members. I'd like to first make a comment that I think the scope should include adding on to the strategic plan that was created back in the 2020, which is a good one, because when we went over it in the past, we thought that it could be more updated and it should be revised to be more current. Rather than trying to create a new strategic plan from day one. That would be my thoughts, because we already did that when we were reviewing it before we made the mistake of reporting. Discussion from any other commissioners?
How many strategic plans has this commission initiated?
the current one was the first.
Really, in the whole history of
Yes,
it?
it was the very first.
Okay, so that tells me what I needed
Yes.
to know. Thank you.
And so the whole point of a strategic plan is to build on previous
Yes.
accomplishments. So we start from where we left off, and it usually is the plan for a new strategic plan begins the year before it ends, so that there's not a year gap before it gets approved. And as I said, that at least in academia and in anywhere else that I've worked with nonprofits, nobody does a 10-year strategic plan anymore. It's 7 years, and when we build in reviews, they really need to be reviewed. When we build in dates for reviews, we really do need to be on top of it and do the review. So that we don't get to the end of the road and be on a hard deadline for doing it.
So, do any other commissioners have any other comments? Yes,
I'll just say that I think that the existing plan framework was a good one.
Yes.
That to the extent that things have been accomplished, they can be crossed out and left behind for the new plan. To the extent that there are still open issues to be resolved, those obviously can be carried forward. And to the extent that the PIG identifies new goals and new issues that would provide the necessary content, I think you've probably done enough good work to start with the previous aborted PIG that it would be a great way to.
I think I would like to know the rules a little more specifically about pigs, because I hate that act. Just so that we don't run afoul again. Is it possible to solicit input from staff about what they would like to see over the next 5 years?
well, at the last, PIG, we did have staff present. We had the executive director, and then we had Leland, I think you were there too, to take minutes.
No.
Somebody was there.
No, not necessarily minutes, but to work on the plan.
To work on the
I
plan.
think you're asking about staff though, not.
Yeah, I'm asking
Not
for input,
staff.
for ideas, for things that,
I was
so if we've
thinking, yeah.
accomplished things that in the past 10 years.
But that staff at that time was represented by the chair who was present. So it's possible to have more staff,
Chair?
not the executive director, rather.
No, I mean, like, have a hat and people can put ideas down. And then the strategic planning,
Including commissioners.
right, everybody can put in ideas. about where they see this commission in 5 years from now. And given the political climate that we're in, given the economic climate that we're in, given everything that we're in at the moment. So to assume that the three of us can be all-knowing, omniscient, and omnipotent is, I don't think, good. So I'm asking, is it permissible to have an open envelope where people can anonymously, if they wish, say, I would really like to see us be able to do X, Y, Z, or I would like to really see us be able to send more than 2 people to COGO, or I would like to see just, where do we see this thing going?
Well, I think we have to see it in the light of the limitations on a pig.
That's what I'm asking.
What we can or cannot do. And one of the things we cannot do, of course, is report, nor can we interact with other members of the commissioner until the final report.
That's why I'm asking for
That's
an
what-
anonymous envelope that people can put ideas into.
So, with that, Jeff, we have our, attorney, Jeff, do you have any comments about that? Jeff? Is he here?
He's there, he's just mute.
I don't see a problem contacting or getting
Yeah, hi.
knowledge of this guy.
Can you folks hear me?
Yes,
Hello?
hear you.
Okay.
yes.
I guess in a very broad view, I question whether you even really need a pig. That maybe what the commission ought to do is take the last report and as an entire commission, discuss it. Is there a need for the pig to you don't have a scope for the pig yet. So what is it going to do that the commission as a whole can't do?
Well, Jeff, let me just explain. The whole reason of having a permitted action group is to minimize the work of the entire commission, basically by coming up with a plan or format that we can present to the commission members to either adopt, to approve, or to revise back, or to revise in session. That's what I think it is. We're cutting the work. Now, if we were to have it for the commission meetings, we would be basically bogged down
Yes.
in every meeting. So do we need a PIG? Yes, Jeff, we do. So take that as.
Okay, so then
So we're gonna go forward
define,
with it, Jeff. We've already, all we've asked you for is a opinion about whether or not the communication from the pig can be with staff members anonymously to get their input concerning issues for the formulating of the strategic planning, to get their
the
input
pig,
anonymously.
the pig can talk to members of the staff. It doesn't even have to be anonymously. The issue that I have an issue with is that you want to allow input from other commissioners anonymously, and you can't have the pig communicating with the rest of the commission, right? That's the point of the pig.
Right.
So to that extent, it makes almost more sense to me to have everybody in the discussion at some point. So you could do this. You could investigate, talk to staff, come up with your recommendations for what is essentially going to be a new strategic plan. You're probably going to look at the old one. You're probably going to have to assess how far you got with it. And as you say, build on that. So essentially what you do that, you take the input from staff, you think about charter and rule obligations for the commission, fold all that together, and you come up with what is essentially a new strategic plan. And at that point, the report gets made to the full commission, discussion ensues, maybe amendments get proposed, maybe testimony gets provided at the presentation of that particular report, and then the commission acts on the report, which could either be adopt the plan as developed or as amended.
Okay,
Okay.
Commissioner Rice, you have a question?
Might I suggest that since it is not policy that we must have a PIG, why can't we formulate a task force of commissioners for those commissioners who want to be hands-on with the strat plan? And to hear me out, David, why can't we do it that way? So that allows the commissioners who have interest, who have ideas and want to contribute, because I just think that eliminating commissioners because of the pig limitation we're shooting ourselves in the foot to some degree. So I'm suggesting, and Jeffrey, if you can let me know if this is permissible, why not call it a group, call it a task force, whatever we want to call it, but the commissioners who want to be involved, eliminate the PIG restriction and move forward.
You're suggesting a public meeting structure, in other words, because it would have to be public. It can't be private if it's not a pig.
Make that distinction one more time for me, please, David.
The definition of a permitted interaction group is they're allowed to meet outside of the sunshine law requirement for
I
public
see.
meetings.
Yeah, okay,
If you're gonna have meetings of more than 3 commissioners, it has to be public.
I see. Well, that's a conundrum.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I have a question too.
Yeah,
Can,
Commissioner Rice.
can, if Cynthia, for example, is on the pig, can she talk to members of the commission one-on-one outside of that?
No,
No.
no,
we're very,
we've had this problem before.
Okay.
You can only talk to other commissioners in the context of a meeting, a public meeting. Go ahead.
I have a question for Jeff Cam. What about if the communication from outside the pig into the pig is only one way? In other words, the pig is not feeding back responses. Somebody who's not on the pig, whether commissioner or staff, has an idea that they would like the pig to consider, and they just feed in that idea, and then there is no further communication back to that person from the pig until the pig reports to the group as a whole and says, this is the draft strategic plan that we are presenting to the commission as a whole.
I think if you want to consider input from commissioners, you should probably just put that in the scope. In other words, you would say that you have somebody who's not on the pig wants to consider something. So then the scope of the pig is consider that something.
so,
But then you'd have to, I'm sorry, but then you'd have to have that defined in advance as we do the scope. It's not like a month from now, somebody has an idea that, oh gee, the commission really ought to be doing X that it's not doing in the future. They can't simply submit a note to the pig at that point and say, for your consideration.
Right, I would agree, they can't.
Okay,
I have a question, Jeff. So you're saying that the one-way communication between the commissioner sending suggestions kind of sua sponte is permissible? When I say sua sponte, meaning that without asking any questions, are you saying a sua sponte comment is permissible?
No, I'm saying that once you establish the pig should not have communications with the other commissioners that are not on the pig, either one way, two-way, whichever way.
That solves the problem. Thank you. That's what I
But-
thought you were saying.
But for clarity, we can take comments from the staff.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
only the staff and the commissioners,
No, it's-
no, just the staff.
No.
just staff. Okay, all right, that's
and
interesting.
to follow up, then other commissioners, when they see the draft presented by the pig, will have the opportunity to propose revisions
Amendments and things.
in a public meeting.
Right, got it.
Correct.
Thank you.
So the understanding is that this PIC would not report back until we have a draft, a completed draft. We made the mistake of saying we met. in an open meeting, and so that dissolved the pig. So but we just didn't understand that.
Well, to avoid that issue, you could always reformulate the pig again for the additional amendments. And, we didn't do that, because once we disbanded, we didn't reformulate again.
Because life takes you over once you disband something.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Life happens without your permission.
Commissioner Rice?
So this is actual policy now, Jeff, what you're saying. Can we get that policy written? So there's no confusion in the future and there's clarity.
About
I-
the ability of the pig to communicate with
Yeah.
other commissioners?
Yeah.
Parameters with.
I mean,
PIG.
OIP already has that as guidance.
Yes,
It's already,
all there.
it already exists as not even policy, it's law.
Okay.
I don't think we need to reiterate the law.
May I
don't
suggest,
think-
if,
to
if
see
the
it.
desire, you haven't defined the scope yet.
Yes,
Nothing says that you have to do it right now, I don't think. Pig is formed, you could probably put aside, delay the definition of the scope to allow all the commissioners can read the last strategic plan, can make whatever comments and suggestions they want, and that becomes your scope or part of your scope.
we've already approved the formation of the pig members, we've approved the formation of the pig. We can at the next meeting discuss the goals. And we can ask each commissioner to keep in mind the scope, the goals, and what I mean, the scope, how far we want to go. Is it restricted to just revising the prior strategic plan? Are we permitted to scrap the whole thing? Frankly speaking, I've read the strategic plan. The first and second meeting was spent doing away with a lot of the elements that were no longer applicable, like staff members and a lot of the goals that were no longer applicable. So, with that, I'm going to take into account that, we should talk about talk about the scope and how we want to define the scope at the next meeting. Would that be acceptable? We don't need a vote on it, but I think it's a good idea. Commissioner?
I suggest in that situation too, if you folks want to talk amongst yourselves, that you not actually form the pig at this point, right? If you have a pig that currently exists and want to go talk to each other in an open meeting about the scope, well, now you have a problem, right? You have the pig talking to the other commissioners. So I guess you rescind or delay forming the pig until you have a scope.
No, Jeff, I think what can be done in this particular case is that we can go on with what we've already decided upon. We're not going to have any discussions with any members outside of it, but we're asking each commissioner to keep in mind, after they review the strategic plan of 2020, to come forward with ideas for the scope to be discussed in the next meeting.
He just said we can't do that.
We can't do that?
Because you will have already formed your members.
Because we've
Yeah.
already voted
I
and
see.
formed the formal pig.
So we can't go forward?
So he mentioned rescinding the motion
Yeah,
until you guys have discussed this. So,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, you can ask him.
Yeah,
to-
because you basically formed a pig that doesn't know what it's going to do.
Well, we know what we're gonna do. We just wanted to clarify that.
I think David wants to speak.
Chair.
Chair, Vice Chair.
To me, it seems rational and practical to give the pig a broad scope, not to narrow it down too much so that it restricts what they're able to do in their own sessions. So I would like to present some language in the form of a motion to define the scope of the pig.
Why don't you go ahead?
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Yes?
so I have a
Okay.
comment. Following up on what Jeff said, I think it's a better idea for everybody to read the plan and come up with their own ideas of what they'd like to see, generally speaking, to be investigated. because since I haven't read the plan, it's a little hard for me to vote on the scope.
If I may, Commissioner Fukunaga, maybe if
Yeah.
you would listen to my proposed language and see if it's acceptable to you. And if not, then, but I'd like to make a motion. And if there's a second, we can discuss. And if there's no second, it dies. Or we vote on it and it could be voted down. Is that okay?
We're still in discussions.
Well, I haven't made my motion yet.
Yeah.
Okay, I move the following language as the scope of the PIG just established. To present to the Ethics Commission a draft strategic plan for 2027 to 2032 for discussion, revision, and adoption. Period.
Do you have a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Okay. Commissioner Martell has seconded, Vice Chair Monk's motion. Discussion? Commissioner Rice?
So,
I-
Mr. Chair, I would still have
Commissioner
concern.
Fukunaga, I'm sorry.
about not having read the plan, because there might be some generic huge strategic issue that should be part of the resolution appointing the pig. I just don't know what that is. So there's just, I would have to abstain at this point because I just don't know.
Me too.
Because
would follow.
if we get a draft plan, we deal with the draft plan. We don't
The
deal with
commissioners
other
can always
issues.
reject the draft.
Why don't we do that now? Get the scope down by actually reading the plan and then coming up with a motion.
Commissioner Rice?
I don't know if I'm going to say this right. What about we go ahead and rescind the PIG formation right now? So that we can do exactly what Commissioner Fukunaga said, thoroughly review what we, most of us don't even understand or know at this time, and then return to form the PIG formally.
We have,
Having clarity and understanding better now the parameters and the policy.
we have a motion that's been seconded, so we. have
With
to have a
with
vote.
permission of the second, I'll withdraw my motion.
I'm sorry?
With permission of the second, I will withdraw my motion.
I'll agree.
Motion has been withdrawn.
Yes.
The motion has been withdrawn. Okay.
So
do we
may
have-
I make my suggestion or motion that we rescind the PIG, study carefully the strat plan that has been established prior, and by next meeting, we are familiar enough that we come back and then form the formal PIG with clarity and understanding policy.
So, let me put it, to make it more concise, your motion is to rescind the vote for the
Yes.
PIG members and also to rescind
For
the
the
vote
pig formation, right?
for the PIG formation.
You're rescinding the pig formation.
Yes.
Yes, they're a two-step process, the PIG formation and,
Does she need to do both, Jeff, or does the rescinding of,
The members automatically go with the formation.
right?
You can just put both into the motion.
One staff.
You could put both in a single motion.
Yeah, exactly.
okay, so, why don't we simplify your motion is to rescind the vote for the formation of the PIG and the formation of the PIG members. Is there any second?
Second.
Yeah, Karen.
There's a second, okay. Commissioner White has seconded. Any discussion? With that, could I have a vote? Ken, do you have did you raise your hand? No?
I'll vote. But I don't have any more comments. I mean, that was the main concern I had is voting on
Okay,
scope
what's your
without
vote?
reading the plan.
What's your vote, Ken?
In favor.
Commissioner Martell,
Aye.
Commissioner Lynch,
Yes.
Commissioner Monk.
Abstain.
I will abstain. Commissioner Rice
Aye.
and
Aye.
Commissioner White.
Aye.
Okay, so it's passed with
5-2.
5-2.
5-0.
5-0.
Yeah.
5-0. 5-0.
5-0-2.
All right. as a follow-up, to the, rescinding of the PIG and the PIG member, for, PIG formation and PIG members, we will take up discussion at the next meeting to review and define the specific scope of the authority for the formation of the PIG and the goals for the PIG. So I would ask that each commission members review, it's online, what is the former strategic plan that was adopted in
It's
2022.
online on the website?
Absolutely.
We can email it to, I think it's okay to email it to everyone.
Yes.
Yes, so let us be clear that if you come to the next meeting and you have no comment, that'll be the end of your comment period. We'll go forward with it, because this has been going on now for more than a year.
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
So if we're doing this, then it's with the understanding that at the next meeting, when this comes up,
Yes.
if you haven't got any comments, that will be the end of the comment period. We'll form the PIG and the members in it, and we'll go forward with it, because this is going on more than a year, it's almost 18 months now.
I
So,
concur.
I'd like to add, this is Acting Executive Director Elmira Sang, for clarity of the transcript. Commissioners will get a chance to comment after the PIG makes its report. Again,
yes,
so, okay.
Not just, not just comment, but propose revisions to be incorporated.
and amendments, whatever,
Right.
and yeah. That's why we gotta start with a draft.
So in terms of giving our comments, is like putting it into an email, and if so, to whom, or or handing it over at the next meeting? And
Bring it to the next meeting. Bring your comments to the next meeting. Doesn't have to be in writing to anyone. Just bring it, but if you can't make it, then just, you can submit the comments to myself as the chair.
Okay,
With respect to the comment that we want to get this done by Commissioner Rice, Commissioner Lynch, that we are going to try and endeavor, because we've had a lot of interruptions in the meantime. So, we're going to, the next meeting, it is understood that we're going to try and incorporate all the comments. And we'll formulate the PIG and the PIG members stand. Okay,
yeah.
great. Okay, next. Moving on. We're going to discuss for action the final report of the Permitted Interaction Group Number 1, responsible for the advertising, processing, and screening of applicants for the Executive Director and Legal Counsel for the EDLC position. We do have a final report. And this is the report of the group and myself as the chair of the PIG Number 1. On January 21st, 2026, the commission voted to create two separate permitted interaction groups, PIG 1 and PIG 2, to handle the selection of the new executive director and legal counsel for the commission. PIG 1 was delegated the tasks and responsibilities to solicit candidates through advertisement and process the applicants by performing extensive background checks and answering any questions from an applicant regarding the process, and to finally submit a list of applicants to whom the PIG 1 deemed to be sufficiently qualified for the EDLC position, or PIG 2, or members of the PIG 2, to interview and evaluate and grade for the purpose of recommending finalists for this position. The members of PIG 1 consisted of myself as chair and vice chair Monk and Commissioner Rice. Between January 21st through March 30th, PIG 1 advertised the EDLC position both nationally and locally through the ABA, HSBA, the Hawaii Bar Journal, KOGL, the Honolulu Star Bulletin, LinkedIn, Indeed, and submissions to the various bar divisions and associations such as the Young Lawyers, Senior Lawyers, Women and UH Law School, and other ethnic legal organizations. Although there were several inquiries by interested individuals, most did not end up completing the applications, as there was a total of 8 fully completed applications by the deadline. Background checks were performed with the Office of Disciplinary Counsel for any disciplinary record and the HSBA for active status. None of the applicants had an adverse disciplinary record. Except for one applicant, all the other applicants are active and duly licensed to practice law in the state of Hawaii. If it was consented to by the applicant, the current and former employers were personally contacted to verify employment background. Any references listed or people submitting any letters or recommendations were verified by members of this PIG by us contacting them. After a course of several meetings, PIG or PIG-1 had created a list of sufficiently qualified applicants for PIG to interview. I have placed the list in an envelope marked confidential, together with personal comments by each PIG member about the results of the background checks and the complete applications of all applicants. I now turn over this confidential envelope to Commissioner Lynch because the chair of the PIG number 2, Commissioner Fukunaga, could not physically attend today's meeting. And that is the complete report of the PIG-1. Does anybody have any questions? Comments? Okay. Next, there are no comments or questions. Let's go over the acting executive director and the legal counsel's report.
Good afternoon, commissioners. Attached to the materials, we have the work report summaries of all staff. Next on the agenda, with respect to the Americans with Disabilities Act compliance for the website, we have a deadline of April 24th, 2026. That is coming up next week. We have had an immeasurable amount of work. The team on that has been Jennifer Hubbard, Leland Reebok, and also Kirsten Aoyagi, who can't make it to the meeting today, as well as myself. The three, Leland, Jen, and Kirsten have worked, tirelessly on this, and it's taken a lot. Everything on the website that is not in archive is entirely accessible or will be by next Wednesday. So,
I love you guys.
we still have our several hundred advisory opinions on there. Some as when Leland forwards you the link for the strategic plan, you'll see that it is in archives because there's all these charts and graphs. Really hard to make ADA accessible when you have to be able to hear it. So we put that in archives as permitted. We put all our annual reports in there. We put a bunch of our all the material that needs to be used for people to access our services or determine how we currently implement the law are still accessible. And that's been an immeasurable amount of work. And I want to thank the staff for doing that. Next, recruitment. As you all know, the executive director position is still vacant. The administrative specialist position, investigator for position, and the legal clerk position, those three are still vacant. I have the paperwork ready to go for some of the more important positions to go. We will try to fill as soon as possible. I'm waiting for some budget issues to resolve a little further before moving forward. But the paperwork is ready to go when we can move forward on the budget. And, with respect to us being down 4 positions, I'd just like to reiterate that staff has kept up with all its work and all these new deadlines, including, hiring, ADA, the lobbyist reporting and annual filing deadline, the financial disclosure deadline, as all of it as well as its regular work. And this is a vacancy of 4 out of 11 staff. So staff has been working very, very hard.
Don't let everybody know that you've been keeping up.
Oh, I don't, we're asking a lot. This is, they're working really hard. It's,
Bear.
they're marathoning right now.
Yeah, I know.
So.
We're at the 18-mile mark. We'll get you there.
Yeah.
So do you have any guesstimates for when those positions are likely to be filled?
Well, the next item on the agenda is the budget.
Yeah.
Okay, and so in terms of the budget, we have Council Draft 1, that just got issued, I think about a week ago. Council Draft 1 of the executive budget. I'm told that this year, and I think it's been in testimony, so it's not a secret, and it's been in the newspapers. This year, the budget has been sort of flat, so there's no increase in revenues, but there's increase in costs. So, the mayor has, and the executive branch has been very careful in its budget, and it's been very tight. But now with the recovery, the unexpected recovery of Kona low storms, I think they have to reevaluate some of that. We don't know what council's gonna do.
Oh, they're in trouble.
So, normally you sort of wait for council draft 1, and then there's 3 council drafts, and you kind of, as you move along, it becomes more of a sure foot. But we don't know what's gonna happen this year, unfortunately. So, but, I'll try to get a read. I have the paperwork ready to, fill what positions we can. And I'm working with, the managing director's, administrative services officer, Shamara Silva, has volunteered to work with us while we don't have, administrative specialist 3. And while Corporation Council's administrative services officer has departed and someone else is, temporarily assigned to that position. We've had some help, so I'm working with him to get all that paperwork ready. It's a mountain of paperwork, but we will have that ready to go when we can.
I think what you were trying to say is that you didn't want, there would be difficulty if we had hired them under the current request, budgetary request for the reduction of the 4%.
Right.
Which would come up, it comes up to $35,000.
It's a shortfall.
And if that shortfall were to occur, then the people who would be hired wouldn't be able to be hired at the current rate.
Right.
And they would be for closing or their opportunity to have the raises that are gonna come about.
Right.
So with the request that we made after meeting with the council members, several times, and what we did, we were successful in getting the city council to amend the budget to return the $35,000 so that we can appropriately hire. Now, that's no guarantee until the final word.
Right.
And so hopefully by the time that we are able to hire these individuals in April, hopefully in
Yeah.
April or
May.
late May, that we'll know for sure what our budget will be. Because it makes a big difference whether you hire them at the current rate, which is,
Or
That's
reduce
what
their
we're saying.
salary.
or reduced salary.
Oh.
So that's what our conundrum is.
And I want to add that, and I think I mentioned this during the last meeting. And if I didn't get a chance to, I mentioned it, but I do want to emphasize that, with this budget shortfall, which was imposed on a lot of agencies. It just so happens that I'm such a small agency, the hit is really hard. So it would have made it really difficult to hire. It basically took away some of the bargaining unit increases and the merit pay, which for the exempt excluded positions. And what chair and vice chair did was accompany me to meet with every council member, sometimes more than once, that was willing to meet with us. We pitched them. I also met with administration, several different members of administration. It was a lot of hard work. Thank you so much for, pitching for the commission and its staff. It's CD1 includes back the shortfall that was cut.
Yeah, I don't think you mentioned it, but there was also a bureaucratic obstacle to hiring in that with the departure of the previous incumbents, until their accumulated leave is paid out, which sometimes takes months,
Right.
the position cannot be filled. So that slowed everything down without even talking about the budget restrictions. That was a pain.
Yeah, the 3 positions couldn't be filled till April, actually.
April.
Yeah.
But the executive director was in May.
Yeah.
First,
Yeah.
So I'll just say that this is a common practice for many organizations that are required to have a balanced budget. It's that they count on vacancies for extended periods of time.
Yes.
to be able to balance their budgets in the end. And it's, I think it's a terrible tactic, but I understand that, you know, we're not the federal government, we don't get to print money. And so a lot of organizations that are local governments and state governments that are required to have a balanced budget, this is the way they do it.
And sometimes agencies in the city do that. Council doesn't like vacancies. They ask about it every year. We have to report. But with a office as small as 11, we can't have any vacancies to the extent we can prevent
I know.
it. So we have almost no salary savings.
My other question is whether or not we were successful in working with administration to correct the base pay with respect to the base pay rate.
Yes, there was also some discrepancy in the budget with base pay, and we've worked with administration. Yeah,
And has
that took a bit of work too. Yeah,
administration indicated that they will
work with us.
work with us on that?
Yes.
And then basically, that's a problem. What happened is that the administration is indicating that when we failed to submit the current base rate for the staff in November or October of 2025. So we thought we did, but anyway, we're working with the administration to rectify.
Right, there was some miscommunication about when, yeah, there was a sort of a lapse in communication with that. So, but that's been resolved. That took a bit of work too. So, so we had a large shortfall, but it's looking promising. Everything looks like it's, you know, as it should be at the moment.
Fantastic.
But we will have to wait for the process to go. But chair and vice chair have worked really, really hard on this.
I know by July, it's the deadline for the start of the fiscal year.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so that is the report on the budget. Financial disclosure filings, we have 62 out of 62 council members, people, the mayor and cabinet members who had to file disclosures with the clerk's office. For confidential disclosures, non-public disclosures that are filed with the Ethics Commission, we are 375 out of 396, so very close in terms of employees. For board and commission members, we are 162 out of 182, so only 20 board and commission members haven't filed. And so for a total of out of 578 we're supposed to get, we have 537. We've been really busy, so we have not started to, you know, Jen started to follow up with people, but you know, the real push kind of comes. Usually we would do it now, but we've just had ADA and we've had been shorthand, but we have a 6-year statute of limitations, so we have some time to do it. We will get further in that. We will take care of what we need to in terms of immediate deadlines first.
But the deadline that was posted has already passed, I think.
Yeah, I'm talking about enforcement deadline, sorry.
Enforcement.
Yeah, so we have a 6-year statute of limitations for that.
2%.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good. And I just want to say, you know, with things like, you know, such a high compliance rate, I can say this doesn't just happen. It takes a lot of coordination on the part of, you know, Jen, the ALCs, sometimes Leland, keeping track of, you know, who, because we don't necessarily get a list of who, say, board members are. So it takes a lot of coordination with all these different agencies that have different boards or commissions under them, tracking who they are, who owes us things, and sending out letters beforehand, reminding their, either their liaison or their administrative services officer, please remind people to do this. And it takes a lot of work in advance of the deadline. So there was a comment that it's a really high compliance rate, and there's a reason for that. I had a comment from someone who just became new staff, who looked at our stats from the prior year. And she said, wow, you guys have 100% compliance rate for filing. That is almost impossible. How did you guys do that? That was one of the things I looked at when I applied here. So yes, it takes a lot of work. It doesn't just happen. It's not magic, but we will work on the enforcement later and we'll get complete compliance hopefully.
Congratulations on 92%. That is impressive.
That is not my work, that is,
The staff.
yes.
Wonderful.
We just need to chase after the 41 left.
Yes,
They'll hunt them down.
I think it's only, yeah, it's about 30 something, 40 something. Okay. Lobbyist filings, we have, filings, again, this takes a lot of work, we have very high compliance. Annual reports, 167 out of 179. That is Jen's hard work, she calls people. She calls people back when there's some errors in their filings and things of that nature. So that's for the annual reports. She receives registrations, she will stop a registration when a report for last year hasn't been filed. That takes a lot of work on Jen Hubbard's part. And so again, this is all her work.
93%.
Okay, and we don't know if there's compliance on the registration side, because unless people do it and tell us they're doing it, they just simply register. Requests for advice, this is the work of Jen Hubbard and both our ALCs, Rainey Nakamura Watanabe and Lori Wong. So in February, we received 14, we've closed out 12 of them. Usually our response time to this with an answer is about 3 days. We want to nail all that down, but at this point, obviously, we can't. Hopefully, we can get more staff to help next year, potentially. But in March, we had received 24, but we actually closed 26. So we closed the remaining last two from last month. So they're done by calendar months. Okay, concern forms. These are concerns for, especially for Commissioner White, who is new. This is what, would colloquially be called like a complaint, so we call it a concern form. And the pre-screens, we had 22 in February, closed concerns, ongoing investigations and enforcement, 17 cases. That's between 2 attorneys, 1 investigator, and 1 legal clerk at the moment. We had 0 closed concern form, but if you look at March, we've closed 7 of those cases. Pre-screens, we have 25 open pre-screens, and because we're always getting incoming ones, and ongoing enforcement and investigations, 18. So there was a new concern form that we decided need to go to enforcement and investigation.
Can we get a cumulative column for these?
Cumulative.
In other words, you got February, March, the cumulative of
Go together,
yeah, of
Year-
the
year
first
to
3
date.
months, quarterly,
year to date.
yeah, year to date, cumulative, so we see progression. If that's possible.
I gotta see if our computer system can generate that. Sometimes it's really hard to hand count because you gotta go through the list individually and figure out what it is. So these stats kind of take a long time.
Excel, you just add the.
It's actually not in Excel, it's in a
Yeah.
case database that the staff actually developed called Round. So it's really nice.
I think that's selling.
Yeah. Okay.
Nice place over.
You could look into that, see if that's possible. Let us know at the next meeting.
Education outreach, Kirsten, Aoyagi is our training specialist, and she usually reports to this, and she's not, unable to be here, at this meeting. So, she asked me to present for her. The, all employee training, there's no statistics for this yet. The board and commissioner, mandatory ethics training. So these are the ones that existing employees or existing commission board members, no statistics on the employee training or board and commission member training. We are currently working with the Department of Human Resources and the EOO office to release a board and commission training combined with things like the equity training, anti-violence training, things of that nature. So it's released together so that employees know to take it at one time. Otherwise, it's really hard to get compliance for training when you're talking about scheduling employees who are on site, like base yard workers or lifeguards, you actually have to get a shift to cover that shift. So it's really, really hard where people don't work in front of computers. So we do a release, we're trying to do a combined release training. It is ready. There's just some delays in deployment. So our videos have been done, for both of these, but we're just waiting for the coordination of the deployment, which takes a lot of work to put it on our Hanyu system. Next slide. Pop-up events. The first one is coming up on May 13th at Honolulu Hale. We also have another one scheduled for the Fosse Municipal Building, and the third one scheduled for Kapolei Hale in October. And for Commissioner White's benefit, I want to mention that pop-up events are tables where we set up, and we usually have one of our attorneys show up. So it takes a whole day of work out, and it takes a lot of coordination on the part of our training specialists. And usually we'll have another staff person there. And what the commission has asked that we do, and part of it was, I think the strategic plan was as well, is really highly develop the outreach. And not only is it, updating these training videos, it's also, it's also doing things like pop-up events. So that people feel at liberty or more welcome to call our attorney of the day line to ask for advice, to encourage prevention rather than have to do enforcement on the back end. And
I was just going to say, if any commissioners have not gone to a pop-up event, you should, if you can. They are wonderful, and you really see the staff shine. And the response from the public or from the employee, the city and county employees, is amazing. And they've become more and more creative and inventive, and they're really worth seeing, because it gives you the perspective as a commissioner of what really is going on with city county employees and how they respond to the ethics commission and what is ethics, because it's still a big question mark for many of them. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Rice. And let's see, newsletters. Attached, you have our two newsletters. One was Ethics Winter Olympic Games, and the other was Sweep It Away at Mythbusters, sort of a spring cleaning type of article. And I've had many people, someone commented to me last month that said, your newsletters are the best. Yeah. So that is the work of Kirsten Aoyagi and the two attorneys that have to review all the subject matter for substance. Let's see, we also have some educational opportunities. We have SCCE, which is about corporate compliance and ethics. And, that relates to some degree, not exactly on point, but it's good to see, say, if there's tools that potentially we could afford, what is out there, what are other trends people are noticing, what methods people are using in the private sector. Also, their outreach and education, their presentations, their trainings and things of that nature. So that is available. COBO is a conference specifically geared towards government ethics and campaign finance. So this is very, very geared towards exactly what we do. That is in December. And Commissioner White, we usually, one commissioner usually goes to that.
And some staff.
And some staff. For legislation, I'm going to turn this over to Rainey Nakamura Watanabe, our ALC.
Thanks, Myra. So regarding the 2025-2026 Honolulu Charter Commission amendment proposals, I believe it was reported at our last meeting that there were 3 proposals that had advanced for the commission's review. And as of the last two meetings that the Charter Commission has had on March 16th as well as March 23, three of those proposals have been assigned to pig number one of three pigs that were formed. The Charter Commission meeting has not yet met for pig one to report on its review. And a meeting has not yet been scheduled. The next Charter Commission meeting is actually tomorrow. And that would be for the commission to receive and review reports from pig number three. So there will be no discussion or deliberation regarding that report though. The next item on the agenda is resolution number 26066, revising the guidelines for the solicitation, receipt, and acceptance of gifts to the city and county of Honolulu, superseding in their entirety resolution number 05-349, CD1, FD1, and resolutions 89-340, 94-23, and 96-168 as amended. Sure is a long title. Basically, resolution number 26066 was introduced by Councilmember Andrea Tipola on March 17, 2026. The purpose of that resolution was to revise the guidelines for the gifts to the city. Basically, there's a number of different guidelines. I believe the first one originated in 2014. Sorry, I don't have the information actually, but they're proposing basically an entirely new policy that incorporates the previous guidelines that were issued, and to remove any stale information that is no longer applicable. Upon our review of the policy, there were a number of provisions that related to ethics, the city standards of conduct, as well as the ethics commission. So we reviewed that policy and we wanted to just propose our revisions to Councilmember Tipola's office, which we did on March 25th, 2026. And the revisions that we made to the policy basically just strengthened the language regarding the Ethics Commission's jurisdiction over city officers and employees, just to make it clear that even though the Ethics Commission doesn't have jurisdiction over gifts to the city, we still have jurisdiction over the city officers and employees who are alleged to have violated the ethics standards of conduct. We just want to make that language really clear. We did receive confirmation from Councilmember Tipola's office that they did receive our proposed revisions to the policy, and we're just waiting to hear back from them. Resolution 26066 has not yet been scheduled for any hearings.
I'd like to add to ALC Nakamura Watanabe's report and say that she's been really vigilant in tracking new Honolulu Charter Amendment proposals to see if there's any that impact ethics. And that's how we choose to submit testimony in terms of the legal implications of any of them. And with respect to legislation, we don't normally do it, but I can tell you that staff, including Leland Reebok and Jennifer Huppert and Lori Wong and Rainey Nakamura Watanabe and myself, I scan all of the city council resolutions that come in, and I also get sort of redundancy, you know, not that I asked them to, but they're doing it, so they're looking too. So we found out that there was this resolution regarding gifts to the city, and as ALC Nakamura Watanabe said, it's not our jurisdiction, but they mentioned in their gifts to the city statute versus, you know, gifts to individual employees and officers, which is our jurisdiction, right? So we, you know, in terms of being proactive, we decided rather than submit testimony, we'll work with Councilmember Tipola's office and say, hey, there's some, you know, revisions you might want to consider, you know, just for purposes of clarity, you know, so you want to make sure that these are two separate statutes, separate our jurisdiction. You might want to make these recommendations. And I think hopefully they appreciate our proactivity in working with them. Yes.
Comment?
Yes, Commissioner.
So this predates many of the people currently in the room, but I think some of it has played out since most of you have been here in San Francisco. There were some very conspicuous ethics scandals involving, I'm trying to remember the actual term that they use, but it's essentially, it's not quite, but mandated giving, whereby city officials are soliciting gifts to charitable organizations or to city projects, not directly to themselves, but with the givers being people who had business before the city.
Oh,
And
it's like you pay for a ballroom.
Yeah, exactly. And people went to jail, people fined tens of thousands, and, you know, I'm not sure whether we have gaps in our own laws that we need to review to see if this is a hazard that the city faces, but it's something that needs to be kept in mind, I think.
And sort of consistent with what you're saying, Vice Chair Monk, some of these charter amendment proposals make it mandatory. Some of it makes it permissible. But what's worrying is some of it makes it even mandatory that certain city and county agencies solicit private subsidies or, you know, donations or gifts and to the city. And we have submitted testimony as to the legal implications of that.
Sure.
Not for or against, because we haven't had authorization to do that. We just say what, you know, the status of the law is, things of that nature.
And
Is this what the city identifies as enterprise
Services?
agencies, like Blaze Health Center, the.
No, that's different. Department of Enterprise Services is the agency that deals with city functions that takes in money, like Zoot has an admission fee. You know, Blaisdell has an.
So if somebody gives a gift to the zoo, they're giving it to the zoo, they're not, I don't.
Yes, and then there's also gifts to the city, like someone can give a gift to
Mhm.
the mayor's office or give a gift to the Ethics Commission, you know.
Oh,
and
that would
it-
be nice.
Yeah, so, no, but we'd have to reject, we didn't want to
One at a
reject that.
time, one at a time. Thank you very much.
Apologies, but we would want to reject that, but what I think, Vice Chair, Monk is talking about, and what some of these charter, amendment proposals, you know, they allow that, you know, so, well, that solicitation might be allowed anyway under existing gift to the city laws, but some of these proposals make it mandatory that agencies solicit, which is a little beyond what we have now, which is why we submitted testimony saying, you know, how that might implicate our laws.
I see.
So sort of consistent with, you know, what.
Are you continuing with your report?
Yes.
Okay,
Done.
okay, we're done with our reporting, but
Thank you.
before we adjourn, I would be remiss if I didn't recognize Jeffrey Camp, who has been our lead advocate, our counsel, our babysitter, a legal babysitter, and a strong voice for the Ethics Commission. I wonder, Jeff, are you still on the line?
Yes.
Jeff? Do you mind
Yes,
putting
okay.
on your video so that some of us could see what you look like? Because we've never seen what you look like. So just to say,
Oh, there's a reason for that.
but the reason,
Have I appeared?
you are,
I don't see myself. Let's see. Well, I've turned the video on.
well, that's okay.
It's your camera.
We just want to be sure that you can hear us. So that,
I can hear it.
okay, we wanted to thank you so very much. And we wanted to congratulate you on your retirement, your future retirement when it's going to occur. And we look forward to the next legal counsel that will be assigned to us. But, you know, thank you for helping us navigate the difficult issues that occurred this year, especially with respect to the new EDLC and other issues that we needed help. And the especially the formation of the pigs.
Yeah.
So thank you very much,
Um,
and yes. Would you like to say a few words,
You're
Jeff?
very welcome. I did want to say that, you know, it's not necessarily the case that Moana will be reassigned to the commission. Apparently, successors on my assignments are going to be on kind of an ad hoc basis for the time being. So we'll have to see. But I'll do my best to transition them over, whoever it is.
And thank you so much for that, and especially providing them with notes on, you know, what we're doing and, upcoming meetings that we're going to occur. So will you be there at the next meeting, which is the June, May meeting, or are you gonna be, is, somebody else gonna be there?
Hopefully somebody else is going to be there. My retirement takes effect, the last day will be April 30th.
Oh, there you go. Okay, well, congratulations to you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Really, appreciate your past help and all the work that you've done with us. And we wish you best wishes for a good retirement and, you know, having, go forward and to, take all the trips that you want to take and all the vacations that you take. So thanks a lot, Jeff. Take care. And with that, do we have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
Yes, motion to adjourn our meeting.
Any second?
Second.
Is there any opposition to adjourning the meeting? With that, I will assume that everybody agrees to adjourn the meeting until the next meeting on May 20th, 2024. At which time we expect, you know.
26.
Be back in time.
All right.
Thanks, John.
All right. Thank you all.
Well,
Bye.
Good luck going forward.
aloha.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, Jeff.